Everybody, it's your girl Serene, your certified faith-based financial coach, and thank you for watching this rebroadcast. I want to thank everybody who's watching the rebroadcast. Welcome to my financial literacy live lunchtime chat. And in this live, we're going to be talking about the number one way you disrespect your money. So if you notice, I'm on StreamYard, and I think on Facebook I can see your comments, but on YouTube I don't think I can. I think I can. So just let me know you're here, and what you think about the live. So um, let's jump right in it because I only do this for about 30 minutes. So I was talking with a client of mine, and she was telling me how, what was she telling me? Oh, that's recently she had ran into a financial snag. And what had happened was that she was overdrawing her bank account. But what she did was, this is what she did. She got a Digit or an automatic savings app, like Digit, Capital, or those things like that, which is pretty cool if you want to save money, right? And then not have it in your bank account. Well, she did one of those apps, and while she was working, she was saving money, she was doing really good, and so forth and so on. But the reality was, when she stopped working, when she lost her job, she ended up overdrafting her bank account for something like $100 because of what the app was taking out of her money. And me, when I say she was overdrafting, I think it's like $35 a pop for overdrafts. She would be overdrafting on change, like 50 cents, 75 cents, anything less than $1. She would be overdrafting it. And I'm sitting there and I'm asking, and I'm like, right, that's just rude to be overdrafting your bank account. But in deeper conversation, I began to realize we had a conversation, and she was like, well, when I had money, I looked after it. And she said, when I had money, I didn't take care of it. I didn't look after it. But when I didn't have money, I began to really pay attention to it. That's what her words. Her words were, when I had money, I paid no attention to it. And she was getting a steady paycheck. And when she didn't have money, she started paying attention to it. How many of us are like that? We get money, we don't pay any attention to it because we know we're getting more. But the moment the money stops and we don't know where our next meal is coming from, where our next paycheck is coming from, we begin to really pay attention to what we're doing with our money. That's, to me, the number one way um, to disrespect your money is to not to pay attention to it. In other words, that is a lack of stewardship. Stewardship is lack of stewardship is the number one way you disrespect your finances, right? And how many of you know, if you are in a relationship with somebody and you become disrespected, how many of you leave, right? So I think money is not, how do I say this? Money is an inanimate object. So it doesn't just walk up and leave. But I think because you don't value it and you don't respect it, that it tends to leave you like with holes in your pocket in that aspect. That's what I'm trying to say. So when it comes to money doesn't, your lack of discipline, your inability or your carelessness with money causes it to leave because you don't do your due diligence in watching your money when you have it, right? So then what happens is, this is what really happens. You get a job and you pays you well, and a lot of people during this whole COVID or pandemic, what they did was, what they discovered was how much money they were really letting go because they really wasn't paying attention to it, right? They wasn't stewarding it. They wasn't managing it. What they were doing was just like, oh, I'll pay this when I get paid again. Oh, let's go out to eat because I really don't feel like cooking. And I have nothing against eating out because I do it. But, or we'll eat out next week, or we'll pay this for that, or whatever the case may be, because they really didn't take the time to look at their money and begin to practice good stewardship. Stewardship is management. And if you are a person who is at a job and you are a manager, you have to manage what other people are doing. So it's so in the same with money. You are a manager of your own household. So you have to tell your money where to go and what to do. But the reality is, a lot of us don't steward our money well enough, or have the stewardship skills or managerial skills to tell our money what to do and where to go. So we just let it go anywhere. We don't pay close attention to it. We don't, when people, one of the things that pisses me off in financial coaching is overdraft fees. Overdraft fees are unnecessary and also avoidable, but yet and still, most people gather them because they're not watching their money stewardship. That's just what that is. That's just stewardship. The bank, people put their money in the bank as if it is like, in terms of a piggy bank, as opposed to, let's just say, like what a bank is supposed to do with your money, right? It's just you look at the bank as a place to hold your money, and what it is, and actually that's what it is, but it's also a place where when you get a statement every month, that you're kind of supposed to reconcile your bank statement every month. You have to make sure your dollars are going where they're supposed to be going. You have to make sure that you are in charge of making sure your dollars go where they need to go, right? So if it is irresponsible for us to not practice good stewardship. And that is the number one way in which we disrespect our finances, yet we do nothing about it. It is the number one way in which God has already ordained us. If you're a faith-based believer, God has ordained you to practice stewardship, to manage your household. You are responsible for managing your household, especially if you are the one who's the breadwinner. Well, I wouldn't say that. I'm one parent who's raising one daughter now. All my other children are grown or practically grown. But I am the manager of my home. And because I am the manager of my home, I have to dictate where I want my money to go, in or out, left or right, up or down. I don't want my money to go to pay for unnecessary things because I'm too lazy, aka overdrafts, or late fees, which really piss me off when people pay stuff late. Late fees and overdrafts. I don't want my money to go to that. I don't want my hard-earned money that I worked for, or whatever the case may be, to go to paying late fees, overdrafts, or whatever the case may be, right? So I am diligent in the stewardship of my money, so they make sure that my stuff is paid on time, so I don't have to pay late fees. That's just the nature of the beast. I mean, that's just the way it is. Not the nature of the beast, but that's just the way it is. That's management skills, right? We are in the, when it comes to money, it's like I'm sitting in my car at lunch, right? My car is not on. The keys are in the thing, but it's not. I don't have to turn my car on. Even if I turn my car on, my car can't go anywhere unless I put it in gear and tell it where to go. I get to command my car. I tell it to go left. I tell it to go right. I tell it to go up. I tell it to go down. Wherever I want it to go, I tell it to go on the freeway. I get to tell it how to accelerate and decelerate. I do that. The car in and of itself doesn't do that. Now, I don't have a smart car yet, but you get the point. Your money is the same way. You are in the driver's seat of your money, and you are telling your money what to do, where to go, how much you respect it. And I'm talking, when I say value and respect it, understanding its role in your life is what I'm saying. Its role in your life is how you value and respect it. I respect my money enough to know that I don't want to pay late fees. I respect my money enough to know I don't want my money going toward paying bills late and late charges. So I make it a conscious effort every month to make sure, A, my bills are paid on time, and two, I keep a monitor on my account to know exactly how much money I'm supposed to have in it. So that way I don't incur overdrafts, right? That's where we miss the mark. And people are like, well, I am a good steward of my money because I pay my tithe. I'm like, paying your tithe is not evidence of you being a good steward. I'm gonna say that again. Paying your tithes and giving your offerings is not evidence that you're a good steward over money. Because just because you do that, God doesn't care. God just doesn't care about the 10%. He cares about the whole 100%. So in other words, when you give your tithes and pay your offerings, that does not make you a good financial steward, right? What makes you good at financial steward is what you do with the other money what you do with the other 90 or 80%. So if you pay 10% tithes and get 10% offerings, you left with 20%. God cares about just as much. God cares just about what you do with the other 80% as he does when as much as he cares about your tithing and your offering. He cares about all of that. I said, because it is wasteful for you to pay stuff that is unnecessary when all you have to do is take a little bit of time every week or every bi-weekly or however you get paid and put in your money and take out your bills and your tithes and whatever else you're going to do and see how much money is left over. It's called management. And as a financial coach, one of the things I help my clients do is find their money management style and then incorporate that style in their money so they can learn how to manage their money well. They're conscious about every time they whip out their debit card. They are conscious about making sure that the tallies end up right every day. So if you use your bank card to buy gas, and you get the statement and you realize that they charged you more than gas, you know how to dispute that thing. Or you are diligent enough that you can spot fraudulent charges on your card. I don't know how many people can don't they're so busy in their lives that they don't check their money that they can't even spot fraudulent charges on their card and their bank account, but they're so busy because they're not paying attention to their money. They're not giving their money the attention that it needs. And I believe a lot of us are, because we're not stewarding well what God has already given us. He in his graciousness and his goodness and his mercy, he doesn't give you more than what you can. I'll say he won't put any more in your hand. Although you're asking for more from God, like you're asking for more money, you're asking for more blessing and more this and more that. But the reality is, if you got more, if you're already not paying attention to what you have today, you will undoubtedly not pay attention to what God gives you tomorrow. I'm going to say that again. If you're not paying attention to what you have in your hand today, you are definitely not going to pay attention to what God wants to bless you with tomorrow. And I'm not saying for you to be obsessed with your money. I'm not saying for you to be constantly watching it like a hawk. But what I am saying is that you need to give your money the proper attention that it needs so that you make sure that you're not being wasteful. One. Two, you give your money the proper attention that it needs so you can kind of start telling it where it can go. Because a lot of us don't tell our money where to go, and we spend a lot of time with our money telling us where to go or what we're going to do with our money. Oh, well, let me rephrase that. We spend a lot of time telling our money to go places we don't want it to go. Because when you have money, you act a certain way. And when you don't have money, you act a certain way. So, for example, if you had a job pre-COVID, right? And you ate out all the time, right? You didn't bother to cook, you ate out. Then you lost your job COVID. And I'm not making flight of anybody who lost their job during COVID. Then you kind of slow down on eating out, right? And then you kind of pay attention to the fact that you spent $35 at In-N-Out Burger, when you really didn't want to spend $35 at In-N-Out Burger. And plus by the fact you had hamburger meat, cheese and onions and buns at your own house, and you could have made a hamburger yourself. You become conscious of these things, right? Now, when you had the money, you wasn't conscious of this. $35 is $35 because your mindset was, well, I'm working next week. I'll just make it up next week because I got another paycheck. I can make it up. But the reality is, the reality is that as stewards over the things that God has given us, we need to be mindful when we have it, and we need to be mindful when we don't have it. We need to pay attention and manage our money better when we have it, not get the habit when we don't have it. You understand what I mean? So what I'm saying to you is that now that the world is starting to open back up again, and the world is starting back up again, this and the third, you're going to go back to work or whatever. If you're working now is the time. Right now is the time for you to start learning how to manage your money well. And here's the thing about managing money. Here's the thing about managing money. One of the things I've come to realize that everybody isn't for every there is, how do I say this? One size don't fit all when it comes to managing money, right? Each of us we have, and I'll probably talk about different types of money management styles or, in a few weeks, but I'll touch on this. Each of us has our own temperament, right? And our temperament is not our personality, it is the hard wiring that makes us us, right? And because each person has a temperament, there are ways in which we are hardwired to handle money, right? And because we are hardwired to handle, because there's a certain way we're hardwired, that's why certain things don't work for other people, right? There's some people who love to budget. That's just their thing. They can do it. And there's other people who can't stand it. It's not their thing. They would rather be out laughing, joking, and partying, and then rather than managing money. You see what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with those people. And those who love the budget and those who don't love the budget. But the reality is there is a way for them to manage their money if they understood their own style of money management. And as a financial coach, that's one of the things I love to do is create individualized plans based on your money management style, because one size doesn't fit all. I realized a few weeks ago, I was thinking about this. I said, I think there's like 330 million people in America. And Dave Ramsey only helps a fourth of them. There are people on this planet who can't do Dave Ramsey. Like, it just doesn't work for them. And the reality is, although he helps millions of people, there are still millions of more people he cannot help, because the people who go to him and then he can't help them, it's not that, I should say this, I don't think he speaks to their money management style, right? You like money management style. I have my own money management style. Yeah, you do. You have your own money management style. There's a way that works for you that makes money manageable, makes looking after your money fun, that makes money, that works for you. Like for me, for example, I know my temperament. I know how I'm built. So because I know my temperament and I know how I'm built, I know my temperament and I know what works for me. So I started creating things that worked for me to keep my money on point. So when people work with me, when clients work with me, I do an assessment and I figure out what their money management style is. And once I figure out their money management style, when it comes time for them to start managing their money, what happens is they gain a perspective about their money that they never had before, what makes it easier for them to manage their money. So that is the number one way in which you disrespect your money. I am stewardship. You don't manage your money well. And you're sitting there, and what you do and what you say makes the difference. When people say, if your husband said, or wife or boyfriend or child or whatever said to you, you know, when I had you, I didn't pay attention to you. I mean, we've heard that. I'm pretty sure there's someone out there who's heard this from a person they love. When I had you, I didn't pay attention to you. But now that you're gone, or it's less of you, I'm going to pay attention to you. How does that make you feel? Now, I'm not saying that money has feelings, because it doesn't. But if I would, I mean, if you said that out of your mouth, right? Think about it. If you actually said that out of my mouth, and you got the God of the whole universe listening to you say this out of your mouth, I mean, what would he think about what you just said? Oh yeah, God, when you gave me this job, I really didn't, and this money and this increase in my pay, I really didn't pay attention to it. But now that it's gone, I'm gonna really be more diligent in paying attention to it. I'm pretty sure God is like, this is my interpretation. I'm pretty sure God is like, oh. Because God requires us to pay attention to our finances. We're supposed to. It's part of stewardship. So the number one reason you disrespect your finances is due to the fact that you are not stewarding your money well. In other words, you're not managing it, you're not looking after it, you're not telling money where you actually want it to go. Well, you are telling it where to go, but it's not the best place for it. I'll put it to you that way. So that is my financial literacy chat for today. Join me tomorrow, same time, same place, 12:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we're going to do another topic on financial literacy. If you want to know your money, I will soon be launching and creating and launching a money management temperament test. And when that is up and running, I will let you know so you can take it, so you can find out what your actual money management style and get a tip or two to figure out what works for you when it comes to money management. All right. So it's me, your girl, Serene Nunez, your faith-based certified financial coach. I do three things. I help women of faith, high achieving women of faith, do three things. One, I help them improve their relationship with money. Two, so they can take back control of their money. Three, so they can walk in the financial plan that God has ordained for their life. Because what you just learned is that everything that affects your money isn't about money. So I will talk with you soon. Have a wonderful and amazing rest of the day. Bye.